The end of a season, the end of the year, and even the end of a decade. The last few seasons have been defined by the speed of J.R. Shepherd, and with tonight, he gets ready to wrap up another championship. It seems a fitting way to close out many chapters as we get ready to watch round 11 of the Bootleg Racing League's SK Modified Series, presented by the Cruise Shop. And you'll see it all live here on the Global Sim Racing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Chris Phoebe. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Chris, the name South Boston will probably confuse those who aren't familiar with the East Coast, so why don't you fill us in on this place?
Well, this is actually the second South Boston, Virginia. The original one was on the north side of the Dan's River and was prone to flooding, so they decided to move it to the south side where it does not flood. And they actually call it South Boston because it's south of Boston. This is a 4/10 mile track, or if you're good at fractions, that's 2/5 mile. 12 degrees of banking in the corner on this legendary short track, former host of what was then the NASCAR Busch Series back in through the 90s, I should say. Very quick track, slight banking in the corners. We should see some great racing tonight. And we're going to throw things down to our virtual lap guide.
All right, I'm Sean Ambrose, that's John Ambrose in the GSRC SK Modified. Welcome to Virginia and Old Sobo. Now, let's get these 15-inch Hoosier tires on this 370 horsepower ground pounder warmed up just a little bit and talk about the key to speed in this car. It's all about getting it to rotate. With a little bit taller gear, you'll do really well mid-turn off. No cutting corners here, you'll find yourself on the hook. So take a late apex at both ends, especially in 3 and 4. And don't worry about braking too much if you really want to unleash the power down these short straightaways. Be sure to get those left sides on the yellow line in 1 and 2, and you'll get that rotation you've been craving out of this SK Modified. Find the grip out of 4 by straddling the yellow line on your way to victory lane here at South Boston Speedway.
They see a couple laps during the day. We're, of course, finishing out things at night here. But before we talk a little bit more about the racing, let's mention that our sponsor is the Cruise Shop. The Cruise Shop has been in operation since 1986. They are a team of highly experienced travel agents that have a huge passion for travel. They specialize in cruises, all-inclusive resorts, escorted tours, Disney and family travel, groups, honeymoons, and weddings. They would love the opportunity to help you plan your next vacation. Give them a call today at 260-755-6125 or visit their website at thecruiseshopfw.com. The Cruise Shop is dedicated to fulfilling their clients' dreams one destination at a time. Big thanks to them for sponsoring this season yet again. And this season, well, the championship is pretty much wrapped up at this point. So let's take a look at the points. And now it does say 12 between J.R. Shepherd and Josh Banks, and they're 14 points for win. That already makes it seem a little bit dire, doesn't it? Well, there's 2 points for 20th place, which I believe is how many cars we have at this point. So that would put them tied on points if J.R. Shepherd finishes last and Josh Banks finished first. And that means we have to go back to countback. This is an unlikely scenario, so hence why we're calling at this point. It seems most likely that Shepherd will be able to take the championship today. There is the scant possibility. There's the rest of the top 5 that you see, Lowe, Kibbe, and Liston rounding things out there. Let's take a look at the race details for today. Chris, one last time for the season, why don't you inform our viewers what goes into these races?
Yep, this is the 11th out of 11 rounds, obviously. 100 laps is the plan. These drivers have to make the tires last for the entire 100-lap duration. They are allowed 1 fast repair, and our grid is set by an inversion of the top 8 finishers from the previous round.
And, of course, we also want to give a small mention to our merchandise store here on GSRC. The link is below. But we're having a special little deal. As you can see, we're celebrating the holidays by doing a little giveaway. So if you subscribe to the channel, you are automatically entered to be in part of a random drawing of many of our subscribers here 2 lucky people will get to pick any item they want from our store. One who had subscribed before December and one who subscribed here in December. So make sure that you are subscribed either way so that you have an opportunity to win some free swag here from us on GSRC for the holidays.
I was going to make a joke about bribing you to win the drawing for free stuff, but I guess I could just buy it instead of bribing you.
I mean, I'll have to check the legalese on it, but I'm pretty sure staff members aren't entered in. But you can try if you want. Tell your niece or nephew to maybe subscribe and see if you can win it from them or something. I don't know.
I got a lot of aliases, man. I can come up with names like it's nobody's business.
So we've talked about this being the end of a lot of things. Well, maybe not the end forever, but the end for now. Potentially tonight could be the last race for the Modifieds here at the Bootleg Racing League as their feature race. That's right. Next season, they're switching over to the Grand National cars. So if you enjoy these open wheelers, well, this could be your last time to enjoy them potentially for a while. Make sure and have some fun tonight with them. But we're looking forward to something new as it's been, well, we don't want to say stale, but J.R. Shepherd's won a lot recently, and we hope that maybe this will jumble things up a little bit. We'll get some new faces, some fresh talent up towards the front. Right now, the temperature out there is a little bit warm for the evening here in South Boston, about 87 degrees Fahrenheit on the track surface, as well as 82 degrees air temperature. They do have it set in the virtual time of May 15th right now, hence why we're getting these warm temperatures out there on track. So not super hot, but obviously the drivers do have to watch out for those tires since they can't replace them as we continue to watch them work their way through the warm-up here. Right now, it is John Minotto at the top of the sheets, and bad news for Banks is that J.R. Shepherd is second out there, Chris.
Yeah, obviously JR, a favorite given his history with the series and are pretty much locking up the championship. Great run for Minotto, though, in practice. Got a slight advantage over Shepherd and could mean he's pretty sporty for the race.
Absolutely. That could give us some fun. And if you're wondering about qualifying, well, we don't have qualifying in this series. As we mentioned, we revert the finishing order of the top 8 from the last round. So we'll see how things wind up from that once we get to calling the grid. Josh Buckley not looking too bad as well today, although he's not currently out on track. The number 2 sitting 3rd in the warm-up times. A little higher than usual that we're seeing for the number 11 who sits in 4th, Ruben Altice. I noticed from the very start of practice, he was very high up as looks like we've actually got someone joining us to talk about the race coming up here in a moment. Our runner-up in the points currently, Josh Banks, is with us. Josh, welcome to the booth. It is an extreme long shot from what we can tell by our math, but, you know, our math isn't always reliable. So what are your feelings coming into the race today?
Oh, man, we're just going to have to go out there and race hard. I mean, that's all we can do. The only thing we have on us, if JR has a mistake or gets caught up in something, that's the only thing we got for us. But it's been a tough season, and but luckily we were able to come out. Still P2 in the standings, which is pretty cool, so I can't argue too much about that.
We were just mentioning a little bit earlier here in the pre-race how this is kind of the swan song for a little bit for the Modified, and we're heading over to the Grand National cars. How are you looking forward to that, or are you looking forward to swapping cars?
Yeah, I'm a modified guy. I personally like modifieds more than anything, but I am open to doing a new car with these guys, doing something different and racing maybe just some different tracks. It's gonna be interesting to see how we do that. But like I said, I do like my modifieds more and wish we can do these more. I mean, we still can, but you know, having the Grand National is primary. So it's the direction they want to take. So we'll do what they want to do and go from there.
Awesome stuff. Well, it's the last race of the season, and then we get a little bit of break for the holidays. Do you have any special plans?
Oh man, we're just, you know, celebrating Christmas with family and getting together and having a good time, and then also New Year's, getting with friends and hanging out and getting ready for a new year and hopefully kick off good and just have a good time, man. It's the last few weeks of the year.
Well, we hope you have a really good time with friends and family on that. Then best of luck out in the race, and we'll hopefully get to talk to you again before we're done tonight.
We're going to try to put a show on for you guys tonight, so hopefully it'll be fun to watch and the broadcast, and hopefully we'll be talking to you again.
Sounds good. That was the number 36, Josh Banks, who is going to try and take a championship tonight, but as he said, it's not really in his hands. He's just going to have to do what he can out on track and see what comes of it. Just about 3 minutes left here in Chris. You were mentioning John Minotto. Is he kind of your pick for tonight, or do you not want to put that GSRC curse on anybody?
You know, he's had some tough luck this season, and he's already driving number 13, so I don't think I want to put that evil on him tonight.
You're more observant than I am. I didn't even notice that he was also on the number 13. And it was Friday the 13th yesterday. So, I mean, hopefully that's passed by. Maybe all the bad luck happened last night, and he's been able to take some good luck from that as we now watch the 98 J.R. Shepherd circulate out on track. Currently, as we now jump over to Donnie Moore, currently sitting 6th on the timing sheets here in the warm-up. When we talk about those Grand National cars, those are, for those of you here on iRacing, that's the K&N car that they will be using for this series, to get into specifics on what they will be running. So a little bit different from these modifieds, but certainly will be a bit refreshing for us here. And I think it's not the first time we've covered the K&N cars, but it'll be the first time I think we'll cover a series of the K&N cars here on GSRC.
Yeah, they're pretty interesting cars. I mean, they're more similar to traditional, like, late model stock car type vehicle than the modifieds, obviously. So I'm looking forward to seeing those cars on track.
Should offer a little bit more fender rubbing too between them, since these drivers do race in very close contact here on these short tracks.
Plus, those cars actually have fenders.
Yes, exactly. But we can't talk about the Nerf bar anymore. Does the chrome horn still count? Or is it only if they paint it with chrome now that they've added that to iRacing?
I think it still counts.
Okay. We're getting word from our director that the chrome horn always applies, so we'll keep calling it that in the meantime when we switch over to next season come 2020. As we now look from on board. These are not slow cars. It might be short tracks, but you can see just how quickly they get around in the sense of speed, especially that low to the track surface, as we were watching from the gearbox of one of our drivers. Just getting the last bits of warm-up in.
They've been searching around. So far I'm seeing a top speed of like 106 going into the corner, which on a track this small is pretty fast.
Yeah, so certainly got to really keep things underneath you as you try and tick the laps away around here. Should be a fun night tonight here at South Boston Speedway. This is one of the base content here on iRacing. Everybody gets this once they sign up for the service, so our drivers should all be very, very familiar. Should mean that it's actually relatively equal ground on all of them, even though they do run fixed setups. Some people on the lesser known tracks might be a little bit more experienced than others. I don't really think that we'll see too much in the way of that for someone having to gain more, at least significantly more than those around them on this short, less than half-mile oval. The grid is being populated, so let's go through your starting order for tonight. Brian Dean is going to be starting on the pole with James Lowe in second position. John Minotto starts in the third spot with Todd Liston starting fourth next to him. Then you get to row 3. Kenny Kibbe starts in fifth spot. Josh Banks is in P6. He will be starting right ahead of his rival in this championship, J.R. Shepherd. Behind him in 7th, Mike Holloway starts P8. Then you get to row 5. It's Robbie Robinson starting 9th on the inside. Donnie Moore rounds out your top 10.
Just outside of the top 10 is Andy Tico in the 11th position with Joe Segala to his outside. Kurt Smith, the number 6, will start lucky number 13 with Bruce Pearson outside of him. Then we have Mike Allen and Dan Butler composing the next row, followed by Jason Menda and Josh Buckley completing the following row. Then completing the field is going to be Justin Allen, Ruben Altice, and Austin Belke completing the field.
And since we have 21 cars, it gets a little bit more interesting here. 21st gets 1 point. So that increases the chances for Josh Banks to maybe take this away. But again, this will require J.R. Shepard to finish absolutely last and Banks to finish first out there. So at that point, he would beat him on points by a single point. So we'll keep an eye on that. But as soon as we have a DNF, well, two DNFs, I should say, I believe that will clinch it for J.R. Shepard. We'll keep you abreast of the situation as this final round of the season continues on. 2 pace laps, so we got one more time around behind the Mustang pace car. Brian Dean will have control of the field, and we'll go running for 100 laps here for the last modified race for a while in the Bootleg Racing League. Coming down into turns 3 and 4. Mustang pace car ducks away into pit lane. Dean waits. Not very long, though, because the green flag is out. He gets a good jump over James Lode, who is outside. Behind them, bit of side-by-side action. I thought I heard some cars make contact. I see someone falling down the order. It looks like that was Ruben Altice, who's pointed backwards on the track still as they're coming up to him. And we got a caution because of that.
Yeah, that didn't take very long. Looks like Altice went around. He was sitting there over in turn 4, it looked like, and he headed to the pit area.
That was actually turn 1. He was on his lid at one point, and the car somehow found its way back to the top. Looks like he had a bit of a connection issue that caused that incident. They do get a spare car, so he will be able to get back out there, but he's already a lap down.
Yeah, this is a smaller track, so those, even under caution, the laps click off really quick around here.
So we got about 1 lap done, and already we're under caution, but should get another go at it here very shortly with no cars a lap down other than Altice. So it should be a very short caution. Usually at a lot of these shorter, slightly more shallower tracks, we see the low line be the preferred one. Is that what you're expecting here today, Chris?
I think it's definitely going to be the preferred line. I don't think the outside groove is totally out of the question here with some of the drivers we have in the field that we've seen make it work on tracks where it probably shouldn't in the past. But I do definitely think that bottom groove is going to be where they're going to want to be.
We'll keep an eye on that as things progress. Lights are still on the pace car, so we got another lap and a half at least under caution here. Your order after that little bit of racing that we did have is Dean in the lead, Lowe to his outside, Minotto in third, and Liston in fourth. Again, Minotto was very, very quick in the pre-race warm-up, so he could be one to watch out for. Really, though, as we've seen season after season, J.R. Shepard easily makes his way up to the front, so even if Minotto gets to the lead, he'll have some work to do. Now double file. So let's get going racing once again on our first restart on lap 7. With Brian Dean once again being given control on the field. There's not much time between the pace car pulling off and the lead car being able to go, so probably won't see too much of a jump. Pace car's in. Dean is away, and in fact, Lowe called it pretty well this time. He stays right with him. In fact, he tries to go around the outside of turn 1 as they come together, and that actually shoves him out to the wall. No caution as everybody's able to get underneath him.
Well, Lowe took a hard hit into the wall, but that's going to caution on the speedway.
That started with Joe Segala. Number 81 was part of the checkup behind all what happened with Lowe there. He was 3 wide. It was Tico and Smith that was underneath him, it looks like. I think he got a little bit of contact with Mike Allen there. He's in the orange and white machine that you see, as well as a small tip from Jason Menda. Just put into a spin cycle there, Joe Segala. Poor Ruben Altice, he must have forgot to turn the free repair on, because I just noticed that Ruben is still in pit lane, and he's already 7 laps down. Well, this is great news, of course, for J.R. Shepard, who is already up to 4th place now after the incident that we had with Lowe up into the wall.
Yeah, that's going to definitely be a little less pressure on the back of J.R. Shepard.
Certainly Will, and Shepard's already gotten past Liston, but Minotto's worked his way up into second. So he took well advantage of Lowe's problems. Curious to see how Lowe's car will operate now as he's down into 6th place. He's going to restart on the outside.
Yeah, it looked like he had a pretty good slap on the right side of the car into the wall. It took the wheels off the ground a little bit. So, could potentially see some steering issues, or maybe he lucked out and hit the wall flush enough that it's not going to hurt it too bad.
Getting a good idea of what the pace is like soon enough. Didn't really have a whole lot of corners before the caution for him to feel it out beforehand, so I'm not sure even he knows what he's got underneath him. So I think we're going to get going too wide here, so as drivers are starting to pull alongside each other. Yes, indeed, the lights are off on the pace car. Brian Dean's taken every restart on P1, but he didn't have John Minotto to his outside previously. The number 13 has been looking fast. Can he do something with this restart? Can he keep J.R. Shepard behind him, as he is directly behind right now? Green flag is out. Does the 13 try to duck down low? He looks for it. Oh, but there's just not enough room, and he gets spun around instead. He goes into J.R. Shepard. Shepard gets contacted multiple times. And a few cars come together in that wreck. Shepard does get it going. Let's take a look at the replay. Didn't even get into the first corner. I wonder if did Lowe manage to get around that. Minotto was the first one to make contact. On Lowe, that was the car of Kenny Kibbe that made contact with him. Just the slightest of touches, Chris, on the left rear.
Yeah, it really did not look like much to precipitate that, but it definitely added up quick.
Looks like Lowe did get a bit of the contact in that. Other cars that fell in behind, unfortunately, include Bruce Pearson as part of that. Kurt Smith, the second time involved in the incident. Joe Segala in there for another time. Minotto, I think, came out the worst of it as he's had to come into the pits. So J.R. Shepard, though, he goes a lap down with that. He's still in 19th, and that is still in a winning position for him. Banks is currently riding in 4th. Brian Dean still leading. Kenny Kibbe now gets promoted up to 2nd with that incident. Todd Liston to 3rd. I think we got Joe Segala ready to talk to us. Again, he was involved in both of the last 2 accidents. Joe, this is Joe up in the booth. Do you have a copy?
I got you loud and clear, man.
Well, you're down in 15th. You've been involved in 2 of the last wrecks, unfortunately. So what are your prospects here once you get the wave round to get back on the lead lap?
Just try to stay out of trouble. Had trouble with it all through practice, really loose, so I'm just trying to survive the race today.
And it looks like you're getting the wave round with the 1 to go, so we'll let you go and let you focus on what you're doing, but best of luck for the remainder.
All right, thank you.
As Joe Segala, as he works his way around. He's going to have to work his way around soon here as, well, now they're dropping back. Are we going to get the green flag? Oh, nope, they're bringing it back out. The pace car actually just barely comes back out in time.
Well, this seems a little bit mixed up.
It really does. I hope they're going to give those drivers their lap back, because that'd be a shame if they wind up staying a lap down just after they were waved by. Not sure what caused them to pause like that.
Yeah, it looks like that one was thrown by race control, and they're actually continuing the caution as well.
I wonder if they're going to try and wave them by now. Looks like Dean still has Jason Minda in front of him. Minda's going to be waved through. But they're keeping Segala, Pearson, and Smith behind them, so they're not going to get their lap back. Well, that is unfortunate for them. It's going to make the day even harder. The lights are off on the pace car. Looks like we are going to come back this time. Kenny Kibbe is going to try to see if he can topple Dean. Nobody has been able to yet. Green flag is out. Kenny Kibbe has a clear track below. Does he try and duck down in front of Liston? Not quite. He stays a little bit up high. Oh, Liston, though, getting loose, coming off of turn 2, so he falls back into third.
But he's able to keep the car stuck to the yellow line, Joe, so that's going to be an advantage for him as Kenny Kibbe starts to inch towards the bottom of the track. Brian Dean holding strong in the number 23, but Kibbe still inching closer. A pretty aggressive move into the corner there. So far, we're able to get back to the line, complete the lap, and Brian Dean is still out in front.
So far, the only side-by-side racing we've had. Oh, take that back. Liston goes a little bit high. He's under attack now from Josh Banks, who's going to move up into third. Another step closer to potentially taking this championship. He's being fought back on the inside by Todd Liston, rather. Liston getting loose. So did Mike Holloway behind him.
Well, Joe, one of the most exciting things you can probably see on the track is a Joshua Banks that has nothing to lose. And right now, he's just out for the kill here, trying to take the win and do everything he can to try and assure himself a championship, if that is even still a possibility.
Let's see what kind of pace he's got underneath him, because he's lost a little bit of a gap as we now ride on board to Kenny Kibbe, who is ahead by about 7/10 of a second, and applying some pressure to our leader, Brian Dean. Well, we got a caution, and I see a lot of cars involved. Robinson out there. I think Mike Allen looks like he's involved. This started with Allen, who caught the wall on the backstretch, and Robinson gets into the back of them. In fact, this was quite a chain reaction. I think Andy Tico, and trying to avoid that, found himself spun around.
This is a pretty narrow point on the track, too. There's really not a lot of room to try to get away from anything.
James Lowe caught a little bit of the action. He was able to keep going. Does this help J.R. Shepard at all? He's still a lap down, and he's in 18th at the moment, but he managed to avoid getting involved in the incident. There, you can see a couple more angles of that replay.
Yeah, given that we have a couple cars that are several laps down, this definitely can't hurt his chances.
The bad news is that Ruben Altice has already called it a night, so at best, we'll see Banks tie J.R. Shepard at this point. And again, we need to figure out who has the more higher finishes to decide, I believe it count back on seconds and then thirds, if I recall correctly. We have actually had a tie in the championship before in Bootleg. We'll do some research to try and get the rule book out on that one. We're all ready, though, to lap 29, lap 30, I should say. And we've had very few under green here, Chris. This is not looking good for JR to try and get positions back, but same thing for Josh Banks, who still has two more to get up to the front.
Yeah, it's definitely been a race of attrition so far. You know, Joe, I was doing some research here, touching base with the South Boston Chamber of Commerce before we got into this race here tonight. And was checking out their TripAdvisor page. And of course, South Boston Speedway, one of the top attractions here in South Boston, Virginia. But you know what one of the top 5 things to do in South Boston is, according to TripAdvisor?
Lay it on me.
Visit the Express Dry Cleaner. So apparently a thrill-a-minute dry cleaner in South Boston, Virginia.
Apparently, yeah. That must be one exciting dry cleaner. I'll have to look into that. But meanwhile, they're going to be turning the wheels back on here for Brian Dean as he's given the green flag. Kenny Kibbe was not able to get by last time. What can he do this time? Well, apparently have to try and fend off Josh Banks, who's now to the back of him and underneath through 1 and 2. But Banks eventually gives up the ghost and falls into third.
It definitely can't hurt to lay back a little bit with these two trying to duke it out for the lead with the way the racing's gone today. probably not a bad idea to let them settle it out and then stick your nose in when the opportunity is a little more present.
I've seen a number of cars really struggle off the corners here. Just saw Mike Holloway back there in a fight with Liston, almost lose the rear end, accelerating off of 2, but he might get a chance as he gets to the inside now of Liston, and he is going to get into 4th place.
The transitions between the banking on the corners to the flats on the straightaways is a little bit awkward in this track. It seems to drop off kind of quick, and that's known to make the cars a little tail happy.
All this battling back behind them has allowed the top 3 to break away by a wide margin, almost a second between Banks and Holloway already. You can see a little bit of a fight down with Lowe and Liston. They've got Donnie Moore just in front of them. Oh, but Lowe gets loose, hitting the apron of 3 and 4, and he falls behind back into 7th.
Well, it looks like we still have a tight battle up front with we got a problem there with Mr. Liston having a little bit of trouble driving around the corner.
Yeah, did the same thing that Lowe did there, and Lowe takes advantage. He gets 6th place right back just a couple laps later. Yeah, you talked about the front being close, but they haven't had no position swaps between them. There you see on screen is still Dean, Kibbe, Banks, your order for the top 3. We're getting close to the halfway mark already. Now that we're starting to get laps in, the race is going by quick.
Of course, as we say that, Joe, looks like Kenny Kibbe to the inside as Dean gets the wall with the right sides. That's going to allow Kibbe to make the pass, but Banks, it almost looked like he was going to let him collect it. But now Joshua Banks dives it into the corner. He'll be alongside Dean as they come off. Slides up the track a little bit, but still keeps it glued to the bottom into the following corner. And as they come off the line, Banks should have it.
He's ahead, and now he's fully ahead as they go through 1 and 2. Dean tried to carry the speed off the corner, but Banks' number 36 was there. And how about this? You see the car in the background? That's the 31 of Holloway, suddenly all over things.
Yeah, Mike Holloway, the superstar of that last restart, apparently, as he is not letting your top 3 get away from him anymore.
He ran them down from a second back, and James Lowe, who was with him, is still about 1.3 behind. That tells you the pace that Mike Holloway has underneath him. Certainly has raised some eyebrows here in the booth, and I wonder if Mike Holloway could be a potential for the victory today. It just depends on if he can get by these guys and start chasing Kibbe.
Bold of you to assume I still have eyebrows, Joe.
And Lowe still fighting, but this time it's not with Liston. This time it is Donnie Moore up to his outside. It carries the speed well off the corner, but it's a longer way around on that outside line, so he starts to fall back and comes back forward once again.
This is such a narrow track. It makes me really nervous when cars race that close together, because there's not a lot of room for error if you're on the outside and the car below you has a slight push off the corner, which we've seen be an issue a few times tonight.
And Lowe was the victim of that, if you remember. So he has experience on what not to do, I guess. As almost into the wall, very high line there from Donnie Moore, but I'm not sure that this is quite working for him. I don't think that high line has come in yet.
No, he was making it look pretty close there for a while, but I think that's a tough line to run around this track for very long.
Update on the progress of J.R. Shepard. Still a lap down, but now is up to 17th. If we get another caution, he should get the lucky dog and be waved around onto the lead lap. Banks still in second place and hasn't been threatening Kenny Kibbe ever since he got by Dean. Looks like we got a battle down for 9th position. Minda is just ahead of them, actually. It's Liston and Allen, who are side by side, but Liston catches the wall on the exit of 4.
Yeah, Jason Menda with a very good heads-up move to avoid that one before it could potentially turn into something a lot bigger.
We're going to watch the replay on Liston. He just understeered. And that sends him down to 9th place. Menda is able to get by. There's a big bobble just as we come back live from the 87. Didn't quite catch it on camera, but Todd, yet another driver, feeling very, very shaky in that car.
Yeah, these corner exits have just been a lot of trouble for these drivers.
Actually surprised we haven't seen more spins off the corner from drivers trying to have to catch those things. Not missing much up at the front. Half a second splits Kibbe and Banks, and they've stretched away from Holloway now that he's gotten by Dean. Dean's the pass on Dean, though, I think that must have happened recently because he was behind Brian last I looked.
Yeah, we're having some trouble in the mid-pack as well. Justin Allen making contact with the wall a couple times. Him and Jason Menda almost tangling, but...
And we had the number 24 go off track. That was Austin Belke. He actually went into pit lane. He ran out of racetrack and had to escape down here onto pit row. Ooh, that was a hard hit to the right side of the car at the pit exit wall. He didn't actually stop to take repairs, though. We're going to watch from on board. He just cycled it through and then came back out into the racing.
That's still a pretty solid hit either way.
I have to wonder how much damage on the car. What that does do, though, is that puts Belke in line ahead as we look back up front once again, ahead of J.R. Shepard. So Shepard won't get the lucky dog at this point.
It looks like Belke is doing a pretty solid job getting out of the way of lead lap traffic, but his day definitely got a lot more difficult.
So we watch from onboard Banks here. Another big slide off turn 2 from Kenny Kibbe. Kibbe's been holding him at bay, but Banks is a smart driver. I kind of wonder if this is Josh just backing it off and saving his tires for the end.
I was going to comment, this is one of those tough old southern short tracks, and it's not out of the question to see these tires go up as we have a caution on the track.
I think Bruce Pearson involved? Ooh, and he's got a blown engine. This is serious. Let's see, it started in front of him. It looks like Minotto gets into the back of Shepard, and then it just all dominoes its way back to Pearson, unfortunately, who winds up on the wall. I don't believe Pearson came in for his spare car last incident he was involved in. Though he's still circulating right now. I hope you hop in soon.
Yeah, it can't be running too well right now, but I don't see him heading towards pit lane.
Well, that is bizarre. So this should give Belke the wave around. The lucky dog going to the number 24 as far as I can tell. No, J.R. Shepard. Oh, J.R. Shepard had managed to sneak by him when we weren't looking. So Shepard gets back on the lead lap.
Well, that's going to be a great stroke of luck for him.
Looks like Kurt Smith has also come in, I think, taken his spare car. It was a very quick stop. So the number 6 getting some fresh boots on. Already lap 64. That was one of our longest runs under green.
Now, for those at home that might be a little unfamiliar, when they take the new car, does that reset all their tire wear and all that stuff as well?
It does not. They do not get any tires, any fuel. It is basically you come in and they take the tires off the old car and fuel out of the old car and plop them in the new one.
So basically it just erases major damage.
Exactly. I think we should be getting double file this time by. Kibbe's going to have Josh Banks starting to his outside, but don't discount Mike Holloway. He'll be restarting on the inside, so he'll have a much easier time. If he can get the start right, he could deny Josh Banks that second place.
Well, he ran him down right after that last caution, so this could be a great opportunity for Holloway to capitalize.
Let's watch and see how the restart goes. The Mustang pace car out of turn 4 now. Into pit lane. Green flag is out. Kibbe checked them up just before he went. Holloway not able to take advantage. Banks already down low. Not going to be an opportunity for the 31. In fact, he's already got Dean up to his high side.
But Banks surprisingly took that corner a bit higher than I expected.
But Dean starts to fall back as Lowe gets underneath him. So Holloway holds on to third place as Lowe gets into fourth, still fighting with the 23. 23 eventually has to give up the ghost and falls in the line.
Looks like we're starting to see these drivers search around the track a little bit looking for grip. Could mean that we have some tires going away.
Watching Donnie Moore, he's one of those that's going a little bit high. He's been fighting with Jason Menda. That's the black car that you see down on the low side, the number 45. And I think you're right, because Donnie Moore is holding his own up there.
Well, he was trying to make it work that last run, too, when he was racing with James Lowe. And he did make it work for a few laps, but I don't know how long you're going to see him trying to run up there, especially this late in the race with the tires starting to give up.
And there, it looks like that one, it finally didn't quite work out. He goes for the crossover instead, looks for the inside, and I think he might just have it. But he's denied down through 1 and 2 by Jason Menda, who finally settles that fight. But we got a big caution on the back stretch, the 33 of Butler, and Robbie Robinson also turning around. And it looks like we had a third car involved, too. 80 Tico. Goes the yellow and blue machine you see spin the 33 the rest of the way around. I'm a bit surprised. Let's watch the replay one more time from Tico's perspective. To be fair, he didn't really have much place to go, so he was kind of stuck where he was. J.R. Shepard, I thought he would gain more positions in that short run, but he's only up to 14th.
Yeah, he is making some progress, though. And, you know, with JR, this is kind of the type of track where he thrives at, where you got to race the track a little bit more than your competitors.
In fact, we can probably get his thoughts on how things have been going. Got JR in here. JR, it looked a little dire for a brief moment, but you've gotten back on the lead lap, and it looks like you're back in the safe place for the championship. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm not excited at all about this race. Pretty frustrated with how things went early on there, but yeah, we'll see if we can finish it out. It's a little dicey back here and a lot of too wide racing, so not a lot of space to make any progress. But we'll give it a try.
We did notice that you didn't seem to pass as many cars as we expected. What's the goal in these final 25 laps?
I'm gonna try to get everything I can out of it. There's no reason to hold back, so. We'll see what happens. I was trying to save the tires a little bit when I was a lap down, but yeah, I don't know how much progress we're going to be able to do, but we'll give it a try.
All right, well, best of luck on that. That was J.R. Shepard sitting 14th out there in the number 98 machine. We're going to get the restart here soon. I think we'll get the one to go this time by at the line. Chris?
Yeah, we got Kenny Kibbe taking the inside once again on this one. And Joshua Banks going to have it on the outside, but Mike Holloway starting third could be very exciting. How about James Lowe up there again?
Yeah, there's a lot of enticing prospects here at the front of the field. Menda's not been doing too bad as well. So he starts in 6th place. He's going to be on the outside, but Brian Dean instead could find himself with an opportunity. Our pole sitter is eager to try and get back up to the front. So as the Mustang pace car peels away, Kibbe has control. Once again, he checks it up right as everybody tries to go. Holloway does get to the inside of Banks this time. Tries to steal that 2nd place away, but he can't get the throttle down off of 2.
A very smart restart by Kenny Kibbe to back up the field like that. Now he has basically put Banks and Holloway 2 cats in 1 box.
And then looks like Holloway is going to have to deal with Lowe up on the high side. The 99 is looking like he's starting to find the grip up on that previously undesired line. Behind them, that is Brian Dean in the yellow and black machine with a fierce fight between Menda and Moore, which goes in Menda's favor.
Right now, everything's playing out exactly the way that Kenny Kibbe would like to see, with a great 3-car battle for 2nd spot right now.
Another bobble off of 2 from the 31, just as a caution comes out. Oh, it's a lot of cars in the back. Liston, the 33 of Butler again. Looks like Justin Allen got held up. This starts with Liston. He's going to get a tip from, I think that's the number 2. Yeah, that's Josh Buckley. Mike Allen, if you want to see an almighty save, we'll go on board with him a little bit later here in the replay. That's Mike Allen that was right in front of our car that we were on board right there. He gets tipped a little bit by Liston after Liston is touched. Woof! And even a shot from behind doesn't turn around the number 59. He's able to keep it pointed forward.
Now, was that JR that made that super juke around the wrecking cars there?
It might have been. I'll have to go and double check on my screen. He's in 11th right now, so he gained a couple at least. I think we might have the replay up. Yeah, JR. Oh my goodness. He threads the needle. He absolutely picks his way through perfectly.
That was an insane move.
Wow. Couldn't really see it that well from that perspective, but there were cars literally all around, and he picked the one place that there was just enough of an opening to squeak through. Watch this. Look at that. That's the makings of a champion.
That should not have worked at all. That car should have wrecked probably 3 times by all rates.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, that gives him an 11th spot. It's less than 20 laps to go, Chris. We don't have, unfortunately, Sean Ambrose on the mic, so would you like to make the traditional call?
Was this where I ruined the race for everybody?
Only if they don't like disco.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what we're talking about, Sean.
I'm still new.
Okay. All right, then. Well, it is the all skate. The disco ball is down. It's time to boogie. And it's going to be Kenny Kibbe leading the way with Josh Banks once again to the outside. Banks has survived multiple restarts on that outside line. I don't know how he's managed not to lose it. Green flag is out. Lowe is down there, and he's got his nose in immediately. And Lowe fittingly loves the low side. As he comes through, he's managing to... Oh, and we got a caution. Looks like Liston involved. Minotto in there. Josh Buckley as well.
We got a few drivers tonight that probably would like to forget this race ever happened. And I think Minotto is one of them.
A little bit of yellow fever. I think this started with Allen. Yeah, Allen actually gets completely turned around by the 6 of Smith. Just full 360 here. Oh, with really hard hits on top of it. And watch Belkey's perspective now. Once again, Shepard, though, avoids it all. He's up to 8th. We can pretty much, at this point, call this championship over because multiple cars have now wrecked a few times and have had to head into the pits.
Yeah, luckily for JR, I think he must have shined up his horseshoe before this one.
So we come back live now. Banks having some connection problems on my screen, though. Is that happening for you? Well, this is not good.
Yeah, it looks like it deposited him up in the wall there on the last corner.
I think he moved the car up to the wall just in case so that he was out of everybody's way.
Yeah, but when it popped back in, he scraped the wall.
Well, as long as he didn't on his end, I think he should be fine. So we shouldn't see him lose pace from that. I doubt he moved it all the way out and actually hit the wall himself. Probably just had cars disappear and decided it was safest to move himself out of the way. For those not familiar with this series, they have no green-white checkers. So we have time for maybe one more caution and still come back and finish under green. If we get 2, though, it is definitely day over. And we can now officially call the championship because both Mike Allen and Josh Buckley have retired. That's too many cars, and Josh Banks cannot lose on points. Excuse not Josh Banks. J.R. Shepard cannot lose on points.
Well, it looks like the field's bunched up, Joe, getting ready for hopefully one last green flag run.
Let's see if we can finish the last race for the modifieds under green. We're hoping for it, crossing our fingers, toes, and eyes. Kibbe has control. Green flag is out. Down to the low side. Low once again, trying to take that second place away from Banks. Banks has nothing to fight for except for pride at this point. Down to 7 laps to go, and it is a fierce fight for second place, Chris.
Yeah, what a great recovery from James Lowe. He ended up getting put in the wall early on after starting second, dropped back through the field. He's raced his way back up towards the front, and now he's battling for a podium spot.
And he has to give it up. Looks like Banks has just too much speed for the 99 to try and challenge him. Down to 6 laps to go now, and Kenny Kibbe, watching all that fighting for second behind him, is loving it because it gave him a little bit of a buffer.
Yeah, Kibbe's ran a really smart race. It seems like he's kind of put his competition where he needs them to go more so than just kind of lucking into a position.
Really, first battle for position is for 4th place, 31 of Holloway to the outside of Dean. They might get a little bit of 3 wide here because looking down to the inside is the 45 of Menda. Oh, until Menda loses it. He spins, and that's going to end it. Caution is out. We don't have enough time for a restart. Menda gets loose all on his own. Don't think he hit anybody in the process, but it was enough to cause the stewards to throw the yellow.
Some drivers taking some great moves around him too.
Absolutely. It's a little sad that we won't get to finish the this history of the modified under green here for the BRL's main race of the night. But Kenny Kibbe should be proud to be able to claim the final victory of this car for the time being here in the last race in this decade, too.
Well, yeah, Kenny Kibbe ran a tremendous race tonight, so if anyone deserves the honor today, it's definitely him.
So we're getting the wave around for Joe Segala. That should put him back on the lead lap. For fans of J.R. Shepard, he managed to work his way back up to 6th. Going to be a 2nd place for Josh Banks as we get the white flag and finish behind the pace car. Kenny Kibbe, who started this thing in 5th place, should not be ashamed of that one. Banks followed him up through essentially from 6th to 2nd himself. And then how about James Lowe going only from 2nd to 3rd? Not easy to do on these reversed order fields, but the win today for the final race of 2019 goes to Kenny Kibbe here at South Boston as the fireworks now go off. That's going to take us to a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll bring you the unofficial results as well as driver interviews. Stick around because on screen we'll see all the upcoming races here on the GSRC. Welcome back to South Boston Speedway. We just wrapped up the final round. If I can get my voice under control here for the Bootleg Racing League Modified Series, of course, presented to you by the Cruise Shop. And Kenny Kibbe was your victor today here at South Boston. He finished ahead of Josh Banks, who really wanted to take the win, even though he, by the end, was not able to take the championship on points. But a second place is a good end of the season for Josh. James Lowe rounds out your podium. Our pole sitter, Brian Dean, wound up in fourth himself. Mike Holloway was fifth behind him. And then J.R. Shepard, who at one point was a lap down, and things looked pretty bad for him, eventually got the wave around and got himself up to sixth position. Donnie Moore, the old rival of Shepard, finds himself seventh. Robbie Robinson, eighth, and then Andy Tico in ninth. The top 10 rounded out by Dan Butler.
Just outside of the top 10 was Todd Liston after an adventurous night, as well as Austin Belke, and then Justin Allen and Joe Segala completed the lead lap finishers. Bruce Pearson and Kurt Smith were both one lap down, then Jason Menda 4 laps off the pace. John Minotto, a rough night for him as well, 5 laps down, comes home in 18th. Mike Allen 19th, and then Josh Buckley and Ruben Altice completed the field.
Looks like we've got our winner ready to talk to us. Kenny Kibbe going to join us here in the booth. Kenny, it's a victory to wrap up the history of the modified here for the Bootleg Racing League, at least for the time being. Does that feel a little special for you to take the last win in this car?
Yeah, it's special, but it's kind of bittersweet because it's showing that I'm just now figuring these things out, and now we're not going to use them anymore. But yeah, it'll definitely be a memorable race, and gosh, an intense race. And I think I caused a wreck there that JR was in, and I feel horrible for that. But yeah, to come home in victory lane at a tough track like South Boston, I'm pretty ecstatic.
Isn't that how it always goes? You always figure things out a little bit too late. But regardless, you managed to go from fifth to first today, and that's no mean feat with Josh Banks pressuring you heavily at the end. How did you manage to keep him back?
Yeah, I mean, the key thing for me at the very end was we were getting really good restarts. I was trying to change up what I was doing every time, and seemed to be working. And then James Lowe got up there and was fighting for Josh for a little bit, and that gave me just enough time to build up a gap. And there at the end, Josh was getting close again, and he might have put a move on me, but he just didn't have time because we kept getting cautions.
And of course, on the short track end of things here on iRacing, one of the biggest pieces of news is that it sounds like we're going to be getting North Wilkesboro come next season. Are you excited about that?
Oh yeah, definitely. That's going to be another probably abrasive surface, and I like tracks that like to wear tires out, so it'll be fun. I'm interested to see how it looks with its retro 1987 look.
I'm excited about that as well. That was our winner, Kenny Kibbe. Before you go, anybody you'd like to thank?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Stone River Outfitters and the Cruise Shop for helping us put this series on, and Lil Jewel for being our leader here, and congrats to J.R. Shepard for winning another championship, and to James and Josh, who also ran in top 3 in points and ran top 3 tonight, and to everybody who likes to watch my live streams on Twitch and ride along with me.
Awesome stuff. That was our winner tonight. And up next, we've got Josh Banks joining us, who finished second today.
Well, Josh, probably not where you wanted to finish at the end of the night, but a solid race for you, and looked like Kenny had some pretty good strategy on those restarts. What were you seeing out there?
Nah, man, he was doing good on getting the jumps, and I couldn't time him right, and it was just tough, man. It was tough to do. We'd finally get good runs on him, and then the caution would come out, and that would ruin it, and we'd have to do it all over again, because we'd had James Lowe coming in there and fighting for third, or fighting for second, and making things a little difficult, and Kenny would be able to drive away. But all in all, though, he still ran a good race. I mean, no mistakes made. We just need a long green flag run to make it to that.
Now, second in the championship to JR. It's been a pretty tough season for you. A lot of fighting back, and even though it's not the championship, second place can't feel too bad.
Nah, I had my hopes up though a little bit after the little incident. I was like, you got to be kidding me! That actually just happened. So, we were a little excited a little bit, but at the same time, he was only a lap down, and I knew the trend of the cautions were going to happen. So, we had that good green flag round though, and I thought, man, it's looking good so far. But then caution come out, and he got his lap back, so he was able to gain points and gain spots. So that's what helped him there. But it's still, he did good coming back, and being able to reseat the lead and grab that championship. So congrats to him.
Now, with this being kind of the end of the SK Modified for this series, are you looking to make the transition over to the Grand National car, and you looking forward to running that one?
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be a different challenge for sure. It's got the new tire model on it for one, and then faster, and then probably newer tracks, bigger tracks maybe. So we'll just have to see what happens, and definitely looking forward to it, though. I like to see what's going to happen.
All right. Anybody you want to thank that helped make your season possible?
Oh, man, just shout out to my teammates as always, SWA Motorsports, doing an awesome job like we do. And up to you guys up in the booth for doing an awesome job this season for broadcasting us and doing as good as y'all do. And then I can't talk. Our admins up there in the top box doing a good job adminning the league and everything and putting on a good show. And then our sponsor, Cruise Shop, for coming on board this year, and all them. So thank you guys.
Yeah. Thanks again, Josh. Congratulations on a great season.
Appreciate it.
Up next, we have our third place finisher, James Lowe, in the number 99, who is another one who had things looking really bad at the start of the race. James, we saw you get slammed into the wall by Dean early on in the second restart. I mean, how was the car after that? Because we saw you fall as low as 13th at one point.
The car was pretty good. It was just that caution after that was the one that me and JR and everybody got in. That's the one that did me in, and I had to take the fast repair on that one. But before that, it was driving pretty good still.
How do you manage to keep the car underneath you when you have to make that climb back forward? Because we talk a lot about the tires, and the drivers always mention, trying to save them. So how do you walk that fine line of trying to push your way through the field, but also keep your rubber under you?
Well, to be honest, it was about 50-50 luck and anger. I was pretty upset that I got shoved up in the wall like that, but we just had to try to stay calm and get back up through there, which we managed to do.
So this obviously brings you up to a podium. Things will reset, and come 2020, we're going to start a new season. Do you anticipate you'll take well to the new car, the K&N car, and does that give you a chance at maybe looking at a championship down the line?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I really like K&N cars. They fit my style a little bit better than the Modified Series, so we'll see how it goes, but should be fun.
Awesome stuff. Anybody you'd like to thank before we let you go for the last race of the year?
Yeah, just thank Stone River Outfitters, the Cruise Shop, and Lowell Jewel for putting all this on. It's an exciting series every season, and hopefully it just keeps getting better.
Awesome stuff. That was our third place finisher, James Lowe. One last driver we want to talk to is our champion, multi-time champion, J.R. Shepard, joins us, and Chris is ready to give him the official announcement.
Well, JR, congratulations on another championship, a great season. A little bit of a tough day for you, but still managed to pull off a pretty decent finish, and now you're champion again. How does it feel?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. It's cool to be able to do this again. I mean, it's been one of those long seasons. Haven't had the greatest finishes every race that we wanted to, and it's been a close battle with Josh. So he did a great job keeping it close, and looks like James came home third in points. So congratulations to him. And they finished up front tonight, and I wanted to be able to race around those guys and try to put on a good show there, but just wasn't meant to be, I guess.
So now it looks like you're going to be going down in the record book as the last champion in the SK Modified for this group, and that's for somebody that's built a reputation like you have as being one of the top guys. That's got to be a pretty big crowning accomplishment for you to kind of put your stamp on it.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I try really hard. We run multiple divisions on Saturday nights, and I try really hard to race people hard, but as clean as possible, because I want to show these guys that you can do that, and you don't always have to use that bumper to make something happen. Unfortunately, it'll cost you sometimes, and tonight it kind of cost me. Just trying to be easy there, but it's one of those deals, and gonna miss this car. I feel bad that I wasn't able to run up front and give it a good run. I really wanted to get a top 3 finish tonight, since this was going to be its last race, and yeah, just again, just wasn't meant to be.
Now I do have to ask you about that nice little juke you made there. I believe it was the third to last caution, and the car's wrecked in front of you. Looks like you zigzagged your way through that one and came out unscathed. Now, how exactly do you kind of come back to center and find some zen after having to make a move like that?
Yeah, there was definitely that was probably the closest one. There was a couple of more after that weren't as close, but could have still been bad. And it's a lot of luck when you're at a place like South Boston. If guys wreck in front of you, there's a very small chance that you're going to be able to get by it, because you got walls on the inside and the outside. So a lot of luck there, real tight racing, and after something like that happens, you just got to get your mind clear and get back up on the wheel and go at it.
Well, JR, as we kind of wrap things up here, congratulations again on the championship, and who would you like to thank that's made your season possible?
Yeah, just again, thanks to the Bootleg Racing League for allowing us to do this on Saturday nights and giving us a really great place to race. Hopefully the fans enjoy watching us, and hopefully put on some good racing. And of course, to the Cruise Shop for being the title sponsor this season, everything that they do for us, and for Stone River Outfitters for being a great race sponsor. It's been a good season overall. I hate to see the SK go, but looks like we got some different stuff coming up, and hopefully we can put on a good show on that. And of course, thanks to you guys, GSRC, for doing great broadcasts this season.
Well, we appreciate that. Thanks again, JR, and congratulations on the championship.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, guys.
That was J.R. Shepard. 6th place today, which is unusual at the last SK race of this series, but definitely a well-deserved championship for him. We also want to thank a few people before we go. We also want to thank the Cruise Shop, the official sponsor of the Bootleg Racing League's Modified Series. You can check them out at 260-755-6125. That's where you can call them on the phone. Or their website is the Cruise Shop FW. Let me get that out in one go here. TheCruiseShopFW.com is where you can check them out on the web. Also, a thank you once again to the Bootleg Racing League for bringing us back for another season of coverage. And also, thanks to the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcasts. You can see them listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. See the screen for how to get a hold of more of her great work. And also thanks to the team today, Chris, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. You can also check us out on social media. Our Twitter is at GSR Channel, Facebook is Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram is GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support the channel, we have that merchandise store link in the description below. And please subscribe to the channel so that you have a chance to win something for free from that store. Your choice of item as well, by the way. It's very easy to do. Just hit the big red subscribe button. We will be back. This is not the end. We keep talking about this like this is the end forever. It's not the end forever. We're coming back next year at the start of 2020. It is not going to be that car you see on the screen. It is going to be the K&N car at Stafford Speedway, Saturday, January 4th at 8:50 p.m. Eastern. But we also have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out and mark them down on your calendar. But until next time, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.